Rodney Harrison joining us on loan from Football Night in America. And looking at some of these matchups, in the NFC, those are battles
Do I
that
need these?
you can put the headphones. You don't have to have them on if you don't want to.
Why is this cameraman telling me to put them on?
Well, you can do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Nobody tells you what to do. You all right here?
Doing good,
Okay.
Dan.
If you want to pop him, go ahead.
That's later.
When's the last time you tackled somebody?
I hit Florio yesterday.
Oh, that's right. You did pop Florio. And you hit Paulie at the Super Bowl last year. Paulie wanted to be tackled. Paulie has this.
He likes to get hit.
He does.
I don't know what he has going on, but it's like he likes that physical contact.
Well, when Clay Matthews was in, he said to Clay, "Would you treat me like an offensive lineman?" And Clay goes, "Is he serious?" I said, "Yeah." And he smacked you, right? It gave you a forearm shiver.
Yeah, in the chest. It's getting better. It's getting better. It's like a fantasy camp, Rodney. We didn't get to play football, so
He wanted to tackle the bus.
But just imagine doing that for like 15 years.
1 year, Rodney.
Okay, but
I mean,
if you were in,
go ahead.
if you were in your prime and still playing, and a guy on the street said, "Hit me with everything you had," you could kill somebody, right? Like an average guy.
I could hurt him. But I guess the scary part about that is if you hit a guy in the street, then you have to worry about him suing you.
Well, not if he asks for it, like Paulie does. Paulie would sign a waiver for you to tackle him.
He's got good size. I mean, he's not like skinny and frail like you.
Yeah. Well, I'm more of that wide receiver type.
Yeah, the Chris Collins.
Remember
type.
Pinkston? Todd Pinkston?
Yeah, Todd from Eagles. Yeah, I remember Todd.
He weighed about 167
Yeah, he was.
pounds. Oh, but he was a badass, though. Rodney Harrison joining us, New York City Man Cave. I'm trying to understand this feeling today when you look at some of the teams that didn't make it. Would you rather be the Steelers or the Cowboys, the Ravens, or would you rather be a Texan fan that you didn't have any drama whatsoever, that
Texans.
you played just good enough
Yeah.
that you don't get in?
I think that's easy. I think the Texans. You don't really want to be a Steelers fan because you sit back and you have Ryan Suck up in a position to make that field goal, and you're in the playoffs. But if you're the Texans, you're sitting back saying, "Hey, we stink, but we have a lot of optimism. We have a great group of guys, talent-wise. We have the first pick of the draft. We can instantly improve. We have a chance to get a new head coach and bring like a new attitude, a new flavor in here. So if I'm the Texans, I'm not far off with a great running back if you get a different coach. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm sick right now because ultimately if they could have gotten into the playoffs, Dan, I think they could have really done some damage.
I think Steelers would have beaten Cincinnati.
Yeah, no question.
I really do. But it's because I saw what Pittsburgh had become. They got healthier, got better, confidence, you could see that. And I think there's still a little bit of doubt with the Bengals. Even though undefeated at home, they still give you that window of you're not quite sure with Andy Dalton.
I don't think they're quite sure, period. You look at Andy Dalton and interception after interception, the doubt. They have all the talent in the world. Defensively, they're good, but it comes down to Andy Dalton. Can he deliver on the big stage?
4 interceptions yesterday, and the Ravens still can't take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's probably
Amazing.
my biggest disappointment of the year, the Baltimore Ravens after winning the Super Bowl. And I never thought I would say it, but this is just a soft football team. To see the way they've gotten beat up on, just a lack of leadership.
What do you mean soft?
Just soft, man. Did you see what the Patriots did to them last week?
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore. Yeah. I never thought that would happen. I thought Baltimore with Coach Dean Pease, who's a former defensive coordinator for the Patriots, I thought this team could beat the Patriots. And it's just amazing to me, like all the chips on the line. Right there, you have a chance to make the playoffs. You just win a couple games, and just to get physically dominated, I never thought that would happen.
But how do you go from Super Bowl to soft in 1 year?
I think it's just complacency. You look at that offensive line and Ray Rice. I mean, he's a completely different back now. A lot of guys say, hey, was it because he got paid? I don't think that Ray Rice has that in him. But you start to question, like, man, what's going on? I mean, this is a team. You look at everybody on that team, very talented. Ladarius Webb coming off that ACL, and just not a very good team.
Guys play differently after they get paid?
Most guys do.
Why?
Yes. They feel like I can relax now. And I think that's the difference between being like a Tom Brady, because you always talk about you being the Tom Brady of Football Night in America, and not having just getting complacent and feel like, you know what, I made it. I have the financial security. And the guys that are really special to me are the guys that really don't care about the money. money is a byproduct of you playing hard and preparing and doing things over the course of your career. You're going to make a lot of money if you do things right. But guys just get comfortable, man. They get caught up in the materialism and the fame, and they just stop working.
Well, and back to Brady, I say that I'm the Tom Brady of Football Night in America because good looking with not a lot of talent.
No, I thought it was
Athleticism.
just because you were white. I mean, like, why not the Donovan McNabb or, one of
Well,
the
no,
black
I'm a
players?
winner.
Wow. Wow. I didn't say it, Donovan.
He's still fighting Jimmy Johnson on if NASCAR drivers are athletes. Rodney Harrison joining us, New York City man. No, I mean, I win championships here. That's what I'm saying. I win championships. All right, we'll come back. I want to ask you about these coaching vacancies, and also we'll look ahead to Wild Card Weekend. Any surprises that you see coming up next weekend? We'll continue with Rodney Harrison, one of only 2 players in NFL history with at least 30 interceptions, 30 sacks. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think I was the first one.
I knew you were the first one. Who's the other one? Polamalu?
It's Ray Lewis.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
So you and Ray Lewis, the only players in the history of the game. 30 sacks, 30 interceptions. Look at you. Look at you.
I worked hard for that.
But you're no Tom Brady. It's official. Mike Shanahan and his staff fired. It's Black Monday. Leslie Frazier done in Minnesota. Jim Schwartz probably done in Detroit. Rob Chudzinski in Cleveland. They didn't wait till today. They did it last night. Rodney Harrison from Football Night in America joining us. What went wrong in Washington, D.C.? What was the biggest thing that you saw where they went south?
Just too much pride and arrogance. With RG3, they gave that young man too much power. Daniel Snyder, just the lack of communication between all groups. Mike Shanahan, no communication there with RG3, and just dysfunction. It was just a bad situation when you have a guy like RG3 who's so talented but yet so prideful. It's the same thing as Mike Shanahan. It was a right thing to do. The question I have for you is, everyone gets so upset and say, hey, this is Black Monday, and why, but why is it such a big deal when head coaches get fired as opposed to when guys get cut? Guys get cut every single day. Why is it such a big deal?
Well, when you fire a coach, all of a sudden you change an entire franchise philosophy. Your offense you're going to run, the style of defense, your coordinators, everything. So it's a trickle down from that. If a guy gets cut and he's 32, like if the Steelers say goodbye to Troy Polamalu, emotional day, but they move on. If Mike Tomlin leaves, now what kind of defense? Is Dick LeBeau still going to be my coordinator? What's our offense like? What's it going to mean to Ben Roethlisberger? That's the reason why it's so big. And it gets me to the point.
That's a good answer, too.
Yeah. Your former coach, Bill Belichick, I said he's the coach of the year. He won 12 games with that team. We always hear about injuries. Every coach will try to, kind of lean on those injuries. Tell me who went through more this year than the New England Patriots and Belichick.
Now, you talk about injuries, and everyone wants to make that as their excuse. This guy's injured. But look what the Patriots have done. Bill Belichick, to me, I probably didn't appreciate the 6 years that I had with Coach Belichick because I was there in the moment. And you really don't get an opportunity to sit back and reflect on how great he is and how smart of a quarterback. I think the job that he's done this year has been the best job that he's done the last decade since he's probably been coaching. And this year proved to me more so than anything that he is the greatest coach that ever coached.
If you could only have one, Brady or Belichick?
Wow. He always asks these questions. I don't think Brady is who he is without Belichick.
Is Belichick without Brady?
I think you need both of them together. I think that's what makes him so great.
Got to pick one.
I got to pick one.
You're starting your franchise. You know Brady is going to be Brady.
I'm taking a coach.
You're going to take
because Brady can get hurt, and we've seen what Belichick can do without Brady and Matt Castle. He can take an average guy like Matt Castle, make him look like a Pro Bowl player, and go get him $50 million.
Speaking of putting up big numbers, Peyton Manning. Great individual. He's always been. He's the best regular season quarterback in history. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, has this been a successful year for Peyton Manning?
It hasn't. It wouldn't be. No, not at all. Because you look at the numbers and the way he's played, and people will judge. We talked about off camera about how quarterbacks and in football, you're judged solely based on if you want to be great. your Super Bowl championships. And with all the talent that he's had with the Colts and Denver, the complete team that I thought they had last year, if he does not win another Super Bowl, you have to look at his career as being somewhat of a disappointment, regardless of the records. With the talent that he has, and I've always said it, and the Patriots fans got mad at me, and I said, Peyton Manning is the best pure quarterback that I've ever played against. And I played against some great quarterbacks, Steve Young, Joe Montana, and all those guys.
But did you think Peyton was better than Brady?
I felt that he was a better pure quarterback. Now, in the last 2 minutes of the game, I wanted Tom Brady because it was just something special about Tom Brady in those last 2 moments. He helped me win a lot of Super Bowls. But Peyton is just, he was so difficult to prepare because of his accuracy, because of his smarts, his football intelligence.
But you also said that you guys knew Peyton would eventually give it up.
Yeah. And basically that was based on the team that we had, the veteran players, our preparation, our head coach. We felt like we were so good defensively and we had a lot of experience that eventually in the fourth quarter, Peyton would make that key mistake. And time again, it's been true.
But if you were facing these guys, who would you not want to face in a game?
In a regular season game, it would be Peyton. In the playoffs, it would be Tom Brady.
Interesting. I think Peyton's got to win the Super Bowl.
He has to win the Super Bowl.
I mean,
how does your little brother have more Super Bowl rings than you? And he's done it with less talent.
Would you? And Eli says he would never tweak his brother. If in my family,
tweak him in terms.
Like I got 2 Super Bowls and you got 1. Whose career would you want right now? It ended right now today. Eli's or Peyton?
I think Peyton, to be honest with you.
So you got 2 Super Bowls to 1.
You know what? I do believe the 2 teams in the AFC, the Broncos and the Patriots, are the 2 best teams. And I do think eventually they will meet up, and one of those 2 teams will eventually go to the Super Bowl. So
he's Rodney Harrison from Football Night in America. Let's look at the games coming up this next weekend. NFC is awesome. I mean, those games. I got the Saints at Philadelphia, those 2 offenses, and I got San Francisco at Green Bay. Better chance for a win. Now, San Francisco's favored in Green Bay. Best chance for a road win, San Francisco or New Orleans?
Well, I was saying last night, I felt like San Francisco should have rooted for Dallas because you get a chance to go in there in that dome, in that controlled environment, and get a chance to have a victory with all those weapons. But, I think we underestimate how good Philadelphia's their defense is. They're a lot better than what we give them credit for. They don't have that NFC-type defense like we see in Seattle, San Francisco, and Carolina.
Yeah.
But the Green Bay game, San Francisco is built to go on the road and be able to win this game. They can run the football. Colin Kaepernick, he can maneuver and make some plays.
Doesn't matter the weather.
I don't think it matters. I think with that physical, tough defense, I think they can go into Green Bay and win.
And I see Carolina and San Francisco similar. I don't think you ask a lot of their quarterbacks. You have a running game and a very, very good defense. So
in Carolina?
Yeah, Carolina and San Francisco are similar. It's power football. Kaepernick doesn't put up big numbers. Cam doesn't put up big numbers this year.
Yeah.
And that defense keeps you in every game. Therefore, they ask you to make a couple of big plays. I find them very similar. Seattle is similar, too. You have this blueprint here with this power football, great defense. You can run the football, and you ask your quarterbacks to make a big play occasionally.
I think the biggest difference with San Francisco and Carolina is the weapons that San Francisco has. I mean, with, Anquan Bolden, we saw what difference he made yesterday, I should say, in the first quarter. I mean, he was just completely dominant. But if I had to trust a quarterback, who do you trust? Do you trust Cam?
Group?
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Not even Seattle. I'm talking about between Colin Kaepernick.
And Cam.
Yeah. Who do you trust? You said there's similar quarterbacks, and I look at the weapons, but who do you trust?
I want to see Cam in a big game, not get squirrely. Like, just stay with what you do, because I think he let the game come to him instead of trying to make all these great plays.
And he's won some close games this year.
Yeah.
You see the growth and maturity from Cam. But
that game against the Dolphins where you lead him down, that was very impressive. Kaepernick has been in some big games, so I've seen him. Super Bowl, you could see him a little bit rattled there, but you would expect that with a young kid. I'd probably have some more confidence in Cam right now, and I wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the year.
The only thing is, the absence of Steve Smith. He is a terrific player, and he's capable of making those big plays. When I look across the board, they just don't have that weaponry that fears me if I'm a team going against them from an offensive standpoint.
And you got, looking at these other games, Cincinnati's got to be thrilled that San Diego's in. I don't think they wanted Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think this is a game that San Diego, as bad as they are, they have a lot of holes on defense.
By the way, Eric Weddle's play, as a defensive player, the fake punt, is that a fumble?
I thought it was a fumble. I thought he ripped it out.
How do I say forward progress has been stopped when the pile is moving?
I know. Did the whistle blow? And you have to take all those things in consideration. I thought it was a fumble. The guy did a good job of getting it out. I thought it should have been a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City had their chances there. And basically, Andy Reid saying to San Diego, come on into the playoffs.
I know, but if you're Pittsburgh, you have to be absolutely sick.
I know.
I mean, you're sitting there, you're thinking you're going to the playoffs, and all those different things happen.
Ryan Suckup.
You kind of like, you're in love with that name.
Ryan Suckup. But what's it like after for the kicker, after he missed a big kick? How do you guys treat the kicker?
Well, it just depends. In that situation, I mean, they're still going to the playoffs. They were locked in at the number 5 seed, so it really didn't make a difference. But I believe going into the playoffs, for him, missing that field goal, I mean, he's going to think about it because now you're going to have an opportunity, next week to make those type of kicks, and maybe a little doubt creeps in. You never know what happens.
Good to visit with you as always.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Got
guys.
a busy weekend next weekend, and tell Tom Brady I said hello.
I will.
Are you allowed to? Does he respond to your text now, or?
I haven't talked.
Wasn't there a Cold War there? Like there was a period where Tom didn't respond because you're a member of the media?
Let me tell you something. When you're a former player and you have teammates, you don't bother your teammates because now you're kind of looked at as the guy on the outside. You're 5 years out of the game, and you don't want to be considered like you're trying to be part of the team or anything like that. So I'll leave those guys alone.
Could you start at safety for the Bears today?
Oh, yes. Chris Conte's garbage. Are you kidding me? Like, you pay him, like, it's easy, yeah. No question about it.
Man, they made it easy for Rodgers there. 4th and 8?
It's amazing. These young kids, they think they can play. Did you blow a coverage? Did you think a hot read? I mean, it's just the play was perfect. I mean, they had a perfect play on Dan. These kids
Rodney,
can't play.
We see it, as you say, blown coverage. How many times you and Tony say that last night? As we're watching the highlights, these defensive backs, the game's hard enough. Yeah. These guys act like, school kids out there.
They don't even think the game out. It's almost like they want to use just their physical athletic ability to try to make plays, but they have to understand that the game is more mental than it is physical.
I will see you next weekend.
Yes, sir.
He's Rodney Harrison
Thank
from
you.
Football Night in America. Rodney and Ray Lewis, the only players in NFL history with at least 30 sacks and 30 interceptions. Look at you. Big smile on your face. 15 before the hour, your phone calls, best and worst of the weekend. Shea and Irving set to unload. We'll talk to him coming up as well. This is The Dan Patrick Show.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.